Hello everyone, this is Danny, and sorry I didn't upload last week. I think I might start uploading every 2 weeks now. It's just much easier to do with my schedule. But today, we will talk about my vacation in Japan. I went to Japan for Christmas, and I spent 1 week there. So I spent from the 24th through the 30th of December in Japan. I unfortunately did not take a lot of videos and stuff, but I did take lots of photos. So I'll insert photos every now and then. So the first thing I'd like to talk about is the food in Japan, mainly because that's kind of the main reason I went. So I had a mix of Japanese food. I ended up eating from the convenience store a lot, mainly because that was cheaper. And then I also did go into some restaurants and eat there as well. We'll talk about the convenience stores first. Japan has 3 major convenience stores in it. It is Family Mart, which China has. Lawson, China also has it. And what's the third one? Family Mart, Lawson, 7-Eleven actually. There are many 7-Elevens in Japan. Now, the convenience stores have a very large selection of food and of cold and hot drinks and other items that you normally find in a convenience store. I was super excited about the food because the food isn't that expensive in the convenience stores, and they're actually generally pretty healthy. Like, I ate a lot of onigiri. Obviously, I love onigiri, or you can call them rice balls in English. But I ate a lot of onigiri, a lot of like vegetable spring rolls. Ate a lot of those as well. And I don't think I really got anything else from the convenience store, mainly because they required a microwave or to actually cook it a little bit so it wouldn't be so cold. But in general, the convenience stores are very, very healthy. Also, their selections of drinks was very good. I ended up buying a lot of water, obviously. But then I bought this one weird drink. It was milk tea, but clear. Super strange. It had a weird taste to it. But yeah, that was so strange to me. I couldn't get over the fact that it was clear and it had a weird aftertaste to it. But some of the teas I got, you can get it from, they have a hot drink section, which was the best thing because it wasn't terribly cold in Japan, but it was very, very windy, which made it colder. So the hot drink selection was great. I ended up drinking a lot of a honey lemon tea that you could find in the convenience stores and in vending machines. But the other food I ended up eating a lot was from, well, I didn't eat it a lot. I probably ate from restaurants maybe 5 times, and I was there for 6 days. But I ended up getting a normal salaryman dinner for $500. That was great. But we met other foreigners, my friend and I, who work at the same school. We ended up meeting his friends in Japan. We ate with them and one of their friends at a restaurant. It's a plate, and every plate is the same price. You can get as much as you want. The price does rack up very, very quickly though. If you watch anime or anything like that, or read manga, you know about omelet rice. It was good. I was very happy with it. They don't cook their eggs all the way. They're still a little uncooked. They're really soft though. They're really good. And underneath the omelet piece is rice mixed with ketchup. Mine had peas and the tiniest amount of chicken. I didn't even realize it was chicken until 3/4 of the way through. There was practically no chicken. But it was good. I was super excited. They gave me a little bowl of miso soup next to it. And I forgot, I got some fluffy pancakes. I don't think they were 100% the idea of the fluffy pancake everyone sees from Japan. But it was a back alley restaurant. It was the last day we were in Japan. It was right before we had to get on the plane. Or we'll go to get on the plane. And we found this little restaurant. It had a lot of bikes in front of it. And you know it's good then. And it was 3 or 4 older women who ran it. And there was a good amount of people. It was a tiny, tiny restaurant. But ended up getting the pancakes, got coffee. It was so good. I was so excited. It was the pancakes, the onigiri, and then the omurice were like really the things I wanted to eat when I was in Japan, because I'm like otaku trash. Oh, third thing, vending machines. Vending machines are everywhere in Japan. I went across maybe 8 just from like my metro stop back to my hostel. I don't know why I couldn't remember that word. Like, that was crazy. And then the vending machines vary in price depending on what area you're in. But you can get cold drinks from it, and you can get hot drinks. I drink the crap out of that lemon honey tea, because you can get the drinks in plastic bottle or a metal bottle. The metal ones hold the heat better and for longer. So I was like, yes. The vending machines was like one of the main reasons I'm thinking about living in Japan for like a year or two. Everything's like really convenient. Like that's the thing. Like Tokyo was really a live-in city. I don't really like a lot of the touristy things that were there, but all the conveniences of actually like living there, I think would be absolutely great. So, and I did do a few touristy things in Japan. I ended up going to Akihabara, which is a really big like anime game area. We ended up playing a Pokemon game. It was so like, you just press buttons a lot, and that's like my favorite games, because that's all you really have to do. And I also played a Dragon Ball Z game, and I got 1 card from it. Super excited. Yeah. But it was fun. It was worth it. I can go back and continue to play the games. I can put the chips on it, and I can continue to play the games. We ended up walking around a few stores, like a really tall like anime one, trying to find souvenirs, but that place was so expensive. And I was just like, no. I did end up going to Don Quixote, which is like kind of like the cheap store, Don Quixote, and I also ended up going into Daiso. They're like dollar stores. I'm not quite sure what to call them, but yeah, they're like the cheaper stores. They were really big. They had a lot of stuff there for relatively cheap for Japan prices. Don Quixote was 5 floors. I did not go to all 5. My feet were already dead by that point. Like around 16,000 steps, I'm done. I'm done for the night. I gotta go home. My feet are gonna fall off. I actually have slight scars from the shoes that I wore in Japan on my legs, because they're like high top boots, and I was not used to wearing them that much. So I have like tiny lacerations where around the top of the boot would touch my leg. So one of the days, well actually most of the days, TJ and I did not hang out a lot. We ended up just doing our own things. I ended up going to see, I think, 4 temples. I ended up seeing the Meiji Shrine, Sensoji, which is the really touristy one. I didn't really care for Sensoji. It was a relatively small temple. You should not take photos inside of those, by the way. People were, and that annoyed me. There was like no photography signs, and people were just ignoring it. And I'm like, wow, great. But Sensoji was really small, and it was mainly a shopping district in front of it, and I ain't got no money. So like, if you want to like really do touristy stuff in Japan, you need to have a lot of money. You're gonna spend quite a bit. Back to Meiji. Meiji was the first one I went to. That was a 1-day trip on its own. It was beautiful because it has like a really large amount of gardens around it. Well, gardens. It was walking paths. It was nice. I actually really enjoyed that one. You could see like a lot of like barrels and signs around it. And the temple itself was very beautiful, because you're not supposed to take a photo of the inside of it, because the Meiji Shrine is actually like for Emperor Meiji. So yeah, I went to the one near Yoyogi Park. That one was very tiny, and I was not expecting the entrance, because Sensoji and Meiji had like really large red pillars, or they weren't red, but they were like really large like temple looking things. All the temples and shrines had the entrance, but Yoyogi was concrete. It was a concrete one, and it had a lot of stairs. But yeah, it was pretty small. You know, it was actually one meant for like Japanese locals to visit and give prayers. I'm not sure what that one was for. And I ended up going to another one farther away. I think it was a slightly older one, and it was relatively small as well. It was not touristy, really. Like, you could buy like souvenirs from it, but that was mainly, I think that's mainly just to help upkeep the shrine. Like, if you buy something, the money will go towards the shrine and stuff like that. But yeah, no, didn't do a lot in the shrines. I ended up walking around them, taking pictures of what I could, and leaving, essentially. It took me longer to get to the shrines than the amount of time I spent at the shrines. So after the trip to 3 different shrines, ended up walking a lot, I was done. So I ended up going to Shibuya? Was it Shibuya? I think it's Shibuya. If not, I'll fix it with subtitles. I went to Shibuya. There is a cinema company called Toho Cinemas in Japan. All the cinemas have the same price, but I ended up going to Shibuya specifically because their building has Godzilla on top of it. And it was so freaking cool. And he actually makes sound. Like, the road to that cinema is called Godzilla Road, which I thought was like the greatest thing ever. But I ended up going there. I ended up paying $1,800 to see the movie. I ended up seeing Star Wars, and then after that, I ended up going out to dinner at a ramen shop. I forgot about ramen. I did go to a ramen shop, like a legitimate ramen shop. So I had omurice, ramen, onigiri, the normal salaryman dinner. So I think I hit like 4 main groups of food. So on Saturday, our flight left Japan, but Friday, we ended up staying up all night so that we could take like the first train in the morning to see the sunrise, which we did not do, oddly enough. But we ended up staying up all night. We ate dinner, I think, like twice, actually. We ate a lot of food that night. We ended up playing games. We ended up going back to the movie theater. We went back to the movie theater and watched Star Wars again. I kind of slept through some parts, not gonna lie, the second time because I'd already seen it, but it was really good. I saw it twice. I really liked the movie. Yeah, I think I did very, very well for my time in Japan, and I had lots and lots of fun. I keep looking down because I have a list of stuff. That's why I'm looking down. However, there are some things that I was not expecting, oddly enough, or things that were like a little harder for me to get used to. First thing, I was not expecting everything to be as expensive as it was. I ended up hurting very, very hard for money. I mean, I do have some money left over, but it's like 600 yen, which is like $6. That's not gonna do much. I might be going back during the summer, so I didn't exchange it out. I don't think you can exchange that, actually. But yeah, I have very little money left from the trip. I actually ended up having to swipe my credit card while I was there, so that was like, I ended up putting like $50 on my credit card, which isn't terrible, but yeah. Other things, the metro system in Japan, or well, specifically in Tokyo, is very complicated. There's like 2 main systems, the JR system and the Tokyo Metro system. Tokyo Metro, I think, is owned by the government, and the JR is like another company. I'm used to like just going through like Shanghai, which is one company, and it's a very simple system. It's a very simple system to use in Shanghai. The Japanese one, the JR and Tokyo Metro, will name some of their stops the same thing, but they might not necessarily be in the exact same place. And also in their metro stations, if you need to get off one system and get on the other, they don't have maps of both systems together. So you kind of have to figure it out with Google beforehand. Google is pretty good at it. The biggest issue is it can't tell whether or not you're underground or above ground. So if you're trying to find how to get into the metro stop to like get onto your metro, and you end up like walking over like the underground part, like Google will say like, you're inside the metro. And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm trying to find an entrance. So that was kind of annoying. And it's kind of expensive. I ended up spending, I want to say, $4,000, $5,000 on the metro alone. And I only had around $31,000 with me. That's really all I brought with me. That's about $300 something. So yeah. And another thing that was a little confusing was the movie date system. So we ended up seeing Star Wars, well, I saw it the second time after midnight. Now, I know Japan uses military time, so they have like 2,400 hours. But the after midnight times, they had like 2,500 or like 2,600 hours. I'm like, what? And they still had the date for the day before. We actually ended up messing up, and we bought tickets for the 30th for, I think, 3 in the morning. So we thought it would be, you know, like the night of the 29th, that morning, which would be the 30th. That's not how they do it. The going over the 24, I think, is meant to help you realize that the day prices are still for like the 29th. So if you buy a ticket for the 29th and it says, I don't know, let's say 2,600, your ticket is actually at 2 a.m. on the 30th. Like, time is it's a concept we created to help us like understand stuff, but we messed it up. It's still confusing. Time is a human construct, and we still made it confusing. I don't know how we did it. But all in all, I would say my time in Japan was a lot of fun. I definitely plan to go visit there again, and I'm actually looking into jobs in Japan. I really love the city. You have to be quiet. There's a lot of order, which actually living in China for a while, I'm used to the chaos. Quite like the chaos, not gonna lie. But I'm definitely looking into Japan to live in. I just need to have a job that pays me a good bit of money. But yeah, so my time in Japan was fun. I hope I put in enough pictures throughout this video to help you. If not, I'll link down below to my Instagram where you can see most of the photos I took, and I will definitely be writing a blog post about this. So, hope you enjoy. Bye-bye!